Hello everybody, this is Hollywood Matt Connolly. I am here with one of the legends of the northern suburbs, Tim Jardine, a former state champion boxer, an absolute legendary footballer, one of the most charismatic and hilarious, funny guys that I've ever met. This guy has more stories than the Empire State Building. I think he's a fantastic guy. I've known him for, well, how long have we known each other? Maybe 7, 8 years now?
Yep, that's it. So, met in security.
That's right. So we were working security together, and once you meet Tim the first time, it's like, wow, who is this guy? And it was, we ended up going different ways with the security industry and remained in contact. And whenever we call each other, it's always, I know when Tim's calling, it's going to be a funny conversation. I think I spend the whole time laughing. So yeah, we're like, we got to get you on the show. And so you've made the appearance, and here you are. So yes, thank you for coming in. And first thing I wanted to ask you about was your home gym. You recently changed some things that you were doing with your training.
That's right. Yep, I've been training since '86, which is a long time, and I gave up going into commercial gyms.
Yeah, what's that?
In 206, because they were just filled up with their wannabes, all the shaved down people on steroids.
Yep.
Okay. None of that at your gym, I'm guessing.
That's just to put it a bit bluntly. So I've left the gym and got my own gym, and I've got over 700 kilo of free weight in there, and no machines, just bench pressing and all that sort of stuff. Still train 4 days a week for an hour.
Yeah,
cut it all down. I still go for an hour walk 7 days a week. Keep the aerobic fitness. I am 60. I am a senior citizen, so got to keep plugging in there.
Bus pass.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would be super surprised to learn that you're 61, and I've known you for a long, long time as well, and I had no idea. I'd lost track as to how old you might actually be. But as a young guy, kind of growing up and going to the gym, there was always Tim there. And I reckon Tim might have been the first person I saw in person bench press more than 100 kilos. Like the first person I witnessed actually doing it. Yeah, with two players. And I think he might have just been warming up as well. So
you're being too kind, Dave.
But Tim, what had you always been a sporty kid? Like, is it? Yeah.
Growing up in the northern suburbs, Elizabeth, I'm a son of a 10-pound pom.
Yeah.
So arrived in Elizabeth in about 64, 65, and there was nothing much to do in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So started playing footy about 8, 9, and kept on playing until I was about in my 30s.
And did you have ambition of going to the next step or playing?
Oh, look, I always wanted to play league footy, but life just went down the other path.
Yeah. Where was the fork in the road for you where you had to make that decision about, I'm going to pursue this or I'm going to...
Having a fucking home life, I think. Having parents who didn't give a shit about you, so you grew up on your streets and, parents didn't give a shit about me, so... you just gravitate to the sport and all that sort of stuff. And I had no support back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. There was no pathways to AFL or league and all that. And they weren't, if I went out to a league footy club, they would have just took one look at me and thought, this guy's too fucking crazy.
The leading goal kicker in the league, though, was it 3 years in a row?
In the association, no.
Was it 90 goals, 95 and then 110?
In 98, I kicked 90. In 81, I kicked 95, and then 7 years later, on one leg, I kicked 110 in 12 games, and that's playing association footy. Yeah.
Wow.
12 games.
110.
Oh my God.
On one leg.
And 6 in the grand final.
Yeah, that's it. On no legs, I couldn't even walk. They just plonked me down at full forward. Yeah. But back in the 80s, there was lots of high-flying, flamboyant full forwards, and I was just one of them. But
you have the long hair and
had the mullet and the tight shorts like Warwick Capper, Mark Jackson. I fell into drug use around the age of 10, so I was basically pretty well shafted then, and that's why I never went anywhere.
Is it really? That's what you felt like? So it sounds like you had the skill set,
never had the support, never had the encouragement or anything. So there was lots of guys that could have played league footy back in those days that just hit the piss and. Yeah. I'd rather just go out on the weekends and, read as many chicks as you could.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Alcohol and women tend to be the diverging factors when it comes to budding sporting careers, and all of a sudden 17 hits and other priorities start to emerge.
Yeah.
So did you have those distractions? So do you feel like that's what led you perhaps away from making the most of a footy career?
Nah, I was too mentally shafted.
You reckon? Yeah.
I was roached from an early age, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no show.
Yeah.
Had no show.
And did that reflect, like, for a potential AFL team or SANFL team back then, do you think that from their perspective they wouldn't have been able to work with you?
Oh, no, they didn't even know, I just never went out there.
You never tried?
No, Alan Stewart was coaching Central's District's under-17s at the time.
Yeah.
And he went on to deal with the Port Adelaide power stuff and all that. And, I got a letter to go out to training for the under-17s, but never went. And they ended up winning the premiership that year, and I probably played, with 3 or 4 guys in that team, and I was probably better than them.
Yeah.
But my home life was just shafted. It was fucked.
And so did that lead to like a lack of belief or a loss of discipline or
just guidance, just focus?
Just guidance to somebody.
I always had the skill.
Yeah.
And I never trained.
Yeah.
They used to call me the moth. Because I was always under the fucking light. Where is he? Standing under the light. Mate, I played full forward, so I didn't have to do too much running. Yeah. And I had shafted knees anyway. I was just good at taking a hanger and I could kick a good goal.
Yep.
But I grew up in the backyard as a young kid just kicking those brown plastic footies.
Yep.
And the next door neighbour had 2 bull terriers. So I fucking learned how to really do a really good kick, nice and straight. Because I went off the side, all you see is these bits of plastic. Oh, there goes another footy. I'm going to have to wait until Easter to get another one.
That's a new training technique.
Yeah, that's right.
And next thing you see at the Crows, they're like, okay, we need some dogs, we need some plastic football.
Can we still get them? Kmart. Right, gotcha.
Exactly.
So I was one of those guys that...
So you were full of potential.
Oh, mate. I was one of those guys, but we're talking about the 60s and 70s here when, life was different.
Yeah.
And living in the northern suburbs, life was different back then. And you're up against men. Footy's a lot different these days. There's lots of boys playing it, but men were men back then. And
yeah.
Was there money, like if you were a league footballer at that
level? Back in those days, yeah. I was even getting paid out of Eastern Park.
Okay.
I was getting a bit of cash out there.
So if you were at the league level, it was like something that would be full-time income?
Yeah, because that was the only competition in South Australia at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Until the AFL came out.
Ultimate club you would have liked to have played for, was it Glenelg?
Oh, it would have been Glenelg, yeah, of course. I grew up idolising Graham Corns, Peter Marker, Freddie Phillips.
Yep.
Great full forward.
Just go and hang out in the club rooms?
Oh, yeah, as a little kid, used to hang out at the Central Districts footy because I played in all the association, all the junior association teams and all that, so I had it.
Yeah.
It was just that, I slipped into drug use really early, and smoking. So I was smoking, doing drugs at probably 13, 14, getting pissed at 15. It was just,
Wow.
Yeah.
But I had all the talent.
Yeah.
Just didn't have the support and the focus there, and, a couple of shit parents that just didn't give a fucking shit about me, and, And that happened to a lot of people. I mean, you can listen to Jimmy Barnes. I mean, he rattled on about Elizabeth for 40 years.
Yeah.
Bagging it and, But then all of a sudden when it was trending to come from Elizabeth with all the mass murderers and serial killings and all that's trending to come from Elizabeth, now he loves it,
Yeah.
And, hey! But back in those days, I mean, he bagged Elizabeth for 40 years. And it was a different place to grow up back then, You had to fight for yourself, and your parents didn't give a shit. They kicked you out of the house at 16. Back off, That was it.
Yeah. And so as you were getting through your teenage years, were you still playing football at 16, 17, 18?
No.
So
I had to go to work.
So you were working, you're out of home?
Yeah. I was still living at home.
Still living home?
But I was just using it as just a room,
Yeah.
Parents, as I say, didn't give a shit, and they said either get a job or fuck off. So it was.
And with mum and dad, had they fallen into drug use?
No. The old man was a military man.
Right.
He was a Queen's Guard at Edinburgh Castle. He was Scottish, 6'7".
Wow.
You look at Chopper Reed and all that. His old man was ex-military and all that, and that's how I grew up.
So just a really harsh, cold, unemotional.
Yeah, no affection, no love. I don't think I can even remember him calling me by my name. It was just, you, oi, e.
Right.
And then the only time he sort of had anything to do with me was when he smacked me across the head,
Yeah.
And, I had a horrible fucking time at school and all that, but the football was the one thing I had.
Yeah.
And I could identify as being as a football player because that's all I was good at.
Yeah.
I only found out in 2017 I'm dyslexic, so I can't read and write. So I've had to go through all my life thinking I was a dumb fuckwit because everyone told me I was.
Yeah.
So, so it went downhill from an early age at primary school. And it's not like it is today.
No.
You had no one to turn to.
Yeah.
I mean, back in those days, the only one you had to turn to was a fucking Catholic priest, and you didn't want to go there, did you? That was just a bit of a joke. Sorry, George Pell.
Oh, man.
So, you just struggle through life, and yeah.
So in terms of you kind of given up on doing anything in terms of sport for a while, but you seem to have an aptitude for training, and obviously a discipline's entered at some point in your life when it came to training and looking after yourself. When did the focus start to turn to yourself and training and being healthy and robust and strong? When did that start to occur to you that getting into weights was a good idea?
I think when I finished playing footy.
Yeah.
And, I suffered a knee reconstruction in 86. Oh, no, I done my knee in 84. Mm-hmm. And then I had a triple carbon fibre ligament transplant, which was an experimental knee reconstruction at the time in 84, 85, 86. Barry Robin had the same one, mm-hmm. and he never came back, and I couldn't come back. And that's why, I ended up coming back on one leg and kicked 110. But and you had to wear a big brace back in those days, and my knee still fucks me up now. I only had it reoperated on in 2019, and the surgeon said, "Mate, you need a knee replacement." Stuffed, and I said, "Yeah, you guys fucked it up, fucking 14, 15." So I've always walked with a limp ever since then. Yeah, because it was an experiment operation, and they fucked up.
Was it too tight?
Yeah. They tightened it. Yeah, all the ligaments. They're made out of carbon fibre. That's what they make bloody yachts out of. There's no giving it. So there's no sort of bend in my knee. It's just straight. Yeah. So that affects your hip, your back, and your shoulder and everything. So So when I gave up footy, I was doing weights, but once I gave up footy, I've really got been stuck into the weights.
Mm. And so what did you get out of that? Were you training for something, or was it just
self-esteem, confidence, a bit of worth, focus, something to do every day, something I could control, makes you look good, makes you feel good, the endorphins, beat sitting around doing fuck all. As I say, I'm 60 now, and people still look at me with the Muslim bum bags looking at me, want to take me out, and I'm 60.
Yeah.
That's because I keep training. Yep. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so, you got to have lead a good lifestyle.
And when did you give up on the smoking and the drinking?
The drinking was
Tuesday.
4 years. No, 4 years ago. I gave up drinking, but I haven't had a cigarette in 18 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. And having started pretty early, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I started drinking at 13, 14, 15. I started doing drugs. I was doing solvents and all that sort of stuff at 10.
Wow.
Just to escape the abuse I was suffering at home. It's fucked.
Yeah.
And that's why my footy career never went. But that's the only thing I had when I was growing up was the footy. I used to sleep with a plastic footy like everyone did. Always had a footy, footy.
Yeah.
I was always sports mad,
Yeah.
And then, a couple of my mates were all boxing and all that, and they all went on to, a couple of them went on to be, Australian champions and stuff like that. And, so I took up boxing when I finished footy, but the problem was I had a fucked knee, fucked hip, fucked back, and I was waiting for a shoulder reconstruction. And when I went to the doctor,
perfect for boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the perfect time to get into it.
Considering all your strength comes from your knees and your hips and your back.
Yeah.
And
it was either boxing or skydiving. Either way, you were in optimal physical condition.
And my local doctor was Andrew Weldon, who was the Central District's club doctor for over 20 years.
Right.
And his son's on that MasterChef or whatever, Michael Weldon.
Ah.
So he said to me, look, I'll sign your medical on one condition, that we organise a shoulder reconstruction as soon as you have a fight, So, my arm was that fucked. Every time I went to throw a punch, it'd fall out of the socket, Wow. But I still went into the ring and had in front of 1,000 people, and even though I knew I couldn't box, I just done it.
Right. So how old are you when you take on this challenge of boxing?
I was just in my 30s.
So which is really late for somebody to take up boxing.
Oh, yeah.
And had you ever done any type of training or anything?
Streets. Yep.
Just
street fighting, that's it. Yeah.
Just in the streets of Elizabeth.
That's it, mate. Growing up in the 60s and 70s, yeah.
Just punching Jimmy Barnes in the face.
Oh, no, he was a bit older, mate. I think he left Elizabeth at 17. I think he wasn't there that long. He grew up in the Port Adelaide area, and I don't know how old he was when he actually got to Elizabeth, but maybe primary school, but he left at 17.
He drove through there once, is that?
I've been in the northern suburbs for 55 years, since 1965.
Yeah.
I'm still there now. I'm still a houso. I'm unemployed, uneducated, muscly, tattooed, shaved head, half my teeth gone.
Still looking good.
But still there. Still there.
Still hanging in there.
That's, still there.
Well, like you were saying before, half the people that he used to play footy with or train in the gym with are actually have died. Or if you do see him now, they look in very bad condition.
So what do you think's been the secret to your longevity? Like in terms of being able to keep up the training and the discipline over such a long period of time?
Because I grew up without any love, any affection, anything, nothing. My parents, I didn't even have any birthday parties. I had no friends. I had nothing. I used to just go home and sit in my wardrobe and wait for the old man to come in and fucking give me a clubbing, And the old lady wouldn't do nothing because, back in those days, you couldn't, My old man was 6'6". He was just a Scottish arsehole,
Yeah.
So it gave me a lot of inner resilience, a lot of, that I've had to do it myself. I've never had any support or anything all my life,
Yeah.
My own brother, I think, tried killing me when I was 8. Died on the operating table, ruptured me spleen, fell off a cliff on a bike. But he actually said I rode off it, as I would. I can still think I can remember the big push.
Wow.
So I ruptured me spleen, died on the operating table, and I had to go to Escort House and convalesce there. And we're talking the late 60s here. And then the following year I was back out playing footy, after having a ruptured spleen.
Incredible.
And dying on the operating table. I've still got the big scar now. Wow. But it's just, I've only had to do it myself.
Always been self-motivated.
Well, I've had to.
Yeah.
I've never had any friends, family, nothing in my life.
Right.
And then the only person who actually loved me was my fiancée, who I met in, 89.
Yeah.
But then I think 2 years later she got diagnosed with cervical cancer when she was 6 months pregnant. And, she died 2 years later in bed next to me. So,
Wow.
So, and then a week after I buried her, I fell through a fucking roof and ripped out that fucking shoulder again.
Oh,
no.
Wow.
So that shoulder, yeah.
Incredible.
And I still went and boxed after that, after I fell through a roof.
You still went through with it?
I shouldn't have. Because I didn't know how to box.
Yeah.
I only had 2 fights, and they're both state titles. I lost the first one and won the second one.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, Ned. Like, so you found yourself into boxing. How do you find yourself almost immediately walking into a state title fight?
Well, when you go to an amateur club, they were just full of guys who weighed 30, 40, 50 kilos.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's this big fat pig. I was about 105 kilos. And I couldn't do any of the exercise. I couldn't do any sit-ups. I couldn't skip. I couldn't do nothing. I used to just sit at the back, hitting the big fucking bag. So when all the state titles came around, they were looking around the room going, who can we have for a heavyweight? And they went, you. I'm going, what, you actually talking to me? Fuck. I've been there 2 years, you're talking to me? Do you want to have a fight? Shit, yeah. And then as soon as I said yes, I went, oh, fuck, what have I done?
Now I've got to fight.
Yeah. So my first... And the guy I knew who was doing all the boxing matchups, his name was Steve Oatway, and he's a former South Australian boxing champion, won a lot of titles, really good boxer, and he was doing the matchups. He said, oh, don't worry, Tim. The guy's a paraplegic. He's fucked. He's useless. You'll be right. You'll be right. I said, okay, no worries. So I've gone to have this boxing title fight at the Arkabar. And all of a sudden, I've looked across the ring, there's this guy, and he's just standing there like a fucking bull with his fucking legs. I'm thinking, holy shit, what am I fucking doing here? Found out he'd had 27 fucking kickboxing fights, didn't I? Had a boxing.
Wow.
But he had 27 kickboxing fights, and this is the first time I was in the ring. I hadn't even hardly sparred because no one ever wanted to talk to me. The only reason I was in the ring because I was fat. I lasted 3 rounds.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Was that what happened in the fight? Like,
How did you survive?
Well, the problem was the helmet they gave me, because you had to wear a helmet, was too small.
Oh.
And it was like my head was like smushed. So he's giving me a good hit and it split my eye open.
Oh.
And it was blood. It was just pissing out of blood, so they stopped the fight in the 3rd round,
Oh.
But up until that point, you were like,
Fucking
how was it going? It
Getting
was,
hammered. Just stood there taking it, I didn't get dropped or anything, but yeah, I had no technique. I'd never been in a ring. It was the first fight and it was a state title,
Wow.
Incredible.
I was stupid.
It should be illegal to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'd better do it now. But so I had no fights and lost that one. But the weirdest thing was, and I had that much anxiety and I shouldn't have done it. The following year, they'd done the same fucking thing. But this time...
You're still recovering.
I hadn't even had the stitches out of my eye.
Still got the headgear on.
You couldn't get it off. The swelling was too much.
You got the headgear already. Well,
And then the following year, I think it was 96, they were having the Commonwealth trials and all that, and a couple of professional fights ahead of the state titles. It was at the Atcos Centre in Morphettville. It was like a bull ring. You sort of walk down, and there was 1,000 people there. And this is only my second fight. Still hadn't done any sparring for the whole year. No one spoke to me. They only spoke to me twice. You, fat fuck, you want to fight? Yeah! Shit, I'm part of the club.
oh my God.
You know, and at this stage, you know, I'm drinking.
I'm Cobra Kai.
You know, at this stage, I'm drinking 20 coffees a day, 20 cones.
Yeah.
Not fucking doing nothing, just fucking hitting the bag hard. And all of a sudden, I've gone to the Atcos Centre and there's 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
And the doctor comes in to take your heart rate before the box. He says, you're not fighting. Your heart's going... I said, nah. So I had to calm down for like half an hour, and then they let me in the ring. And, I jumped around for 3 rounds, done fuck all but one. So I did get a state title.
There you go.
And that was the end of my career.
That was it?
Yeah, well, I needed...
Two fights?
Yeah, I needed shoulder reconstruction.
Oh, you can't go higher than that. I mean, that's the
I know,
pinnacle.
So basically, I had one leg.
So your
one
victory
arm.
speech is, thank you very much, I'm retired.
I didn't even get one.
Oh, you didn't get
They didn't even get me one.
They grabbed the microphone back.
It was just a quick wave.
It's just- I'm happy for you to readdress that a little bit later if you do have if you did have a victory speech prepared and you want to share that with us, because this would be the forum to share it with everyone.
Do you know what? Even to this day, I don't know why I went in there.
Somebody's phone going?
No, it's mine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Do you remember? So essentially, you've been called out. Do you want to have did you have much preparation?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I only had one arm. My shoulder kept fucking falling out. I was smoking 20 cigarettes a day, 20 coffees, and 20 cones. That was me fucking diet.
So this is the preparation of champions, obviously. So
This is how you become a champion.
I'm wondering if you need a website and an ebook for this. Because I reckon if more people found out it was that easy, they'd be right onto it.
I've been doing it all wrong.
The Australian Institute of Sport, they can get fucked. They don't know
They're
what to
writing
do.
notes down at the moment. 20 cigarettes.
How many cones was that? Was it 10 or 20? Could have been 20. All right, well, let's go for 30.
Ice cream cones.
Well, look at Mike Tyson. What does he own?
Oh,
A
yeah.
marijuana farm?
That's right.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how all that culture just turned on its head in a matter of the last few years, largely because of Mike Tyson's involvement. But
And Olivia Newton-John and all that sort of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
She owns
Newton-John.
Yeah, she owns a farm.
Really?
Yeah, her daughter and ex-husband own a farm in America, in California somewhere, because she runs the Cancer Association over in Melbourne. They named the big cancer thing over.
So medical marijuana stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yes. So, and Mike Tyson's got a farm as well.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
always stoned.
Ah,
Yeah.
he's yeah.
And look how well he looks.
Yeah, he looks great. Yeah.
He's about to fight again.
And he's a multi-millionaire.
Oh yeah.
And look at me, I'm a fucking Elzo.
Well, I think you're on the planet
I've got
because
$15 in my pocket, and that's my life. I can still laugh.
well, you're a former state champion.
Let's not, fucking wasn't that good,
But it's interesting. Like you've turned up, and a lot can be said for turning up, because you turned up and you look like a heavyweight champion. I think you also underplayed it. The fat fuckery. You were 100 or so kilos, and you looked amazing. You look like a specimen.
I fought as a heavyweight, so I was 90. I was 90.1.
Oh, did you come down that way?
Yeah, I had at least 10 kilos.
I'm just recalling, from that period,
Yeah,
that you looked amazing. You looked
Just a
in
heavyweight,
great shape, and so you looked like a heavyweight champion, essentially. I mean,
Just couldn't fucking box. Looked like it,
just only had one arm that worked, and
One leg.
One leg. Shit back.
and do you look back at that and think what are the chances of that set of circumstances having ever played out? Look, you hear of people that work for years and years and years, and they grind it out to have the opportunity to fight for the belt, and you just happen to be there at the right time and turned up.
No. I wish I had a couple of, sort of
warm-ups?
Or spars or something. You know?
Wow.
Just a practice. Would have been good.
Shit, what am I doing here? Why are these 1,000 people booing me?
But it's also interesting that you came to it relatively late because Greg Hearn has been on our podcast previously, and you know, I think he was nearly 30 when or just turned 30 when he'd had his first bout, and you were similarly.
I was 34, 35 when I took up boxing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is
I can only do it for a couple of years because of the amateur rules. You got to retire at the end of 35 before 36. Yeah,
is that still the case?
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know. So I think I took it up about 34, 35.
Yeah.
But the only reason I took it up is because my mate was Don Mackay, you know, who was a former super. You know, he fought for the Australian super heavyweight title against Jimmy Thunder, and he runs Northside Boxing. So he'd always say, "Come on, come on, let's go and have 20 cones, let's go and do some sparring," you know, as you do. Yeah. Wow. So that's how I fell into it, because he still runs the club, you know.
And did you ever have any other interest in any other martial arts or?
Oh, yeah, I done jiu-jitsu for a year, but that was about it.
Yeah.
But back then, that was about it. Other than that, nah, just watched Bruce Lee movies, grew up watching Bruce Lee movies in the 70s.
Yeah, that's enough qualification for most. Yeah. Apparently it is.
Have you watched the Bruce Lee movie? Yes, you're in.
You're in.
Heavyweight title.
You look the part.
That's awesome.
So in looking back, it certainly sounds like you've reconciled that. You know, if you'd had been provided with a level of support that I guess you would expect to receive in this day and age when you were younger, and some of those opportunities had fleshed out, that perhaps there would have been a football career in there for you at some stage. It certainly sounded like you had the talent.
Mate, I would have been a fucking superstar.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I would have been a cross between Warwick Capper and Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just what football needed in the 1980s as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the year I grew up, you know.
Yeah.
It just never happened.
So wouldn't it, like, say that sort of behaviour was being demonstrated these days by the parents, that you would instantly be removed from that situation, or you know, it's it was a different time back then, wasn't it?
I mean, I'm going to school in the 60s and 70s, and I can't read and write, and I keep thinking, fucking why, you know? And the harder I tried, the worse it got. So the teacher always used to throw me out of the class. So I'd have to go down to the principal's, and this is when you used to get caned. So I'd be going to the principal's office getting caned, going back in the class, you know, sort of you're crying because you're only 7 and 8, you're getting corporal punished on a daily basis.
Wow.
And you go back to the class and every fucker's laughing at you.
Yeah.
I had an older brother who had 5 of his mates who were bullies and used to beat me up on the way home.
Right.
So I was copping it at school, I was copping the bullies, and then when I got home I copped it from the old man. So I didn't have fucking much of an upbringing. And that's why I've got this aggressive, angry look about me to this day. It was just beating into me, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how brutal it was. And you had no one to turn to.
No, that's right. No support.
You know, we're talking about the 60s and 70s with the black and white fucking TV. It's not like it is today. You know?
It's tough, man. It's hard to hear it. It's like,
No, but you know, hey, that's why I was turning to drugs at 10. If you actually listen to me, you know, why was he doing drugs at 10? Because fucking no one wanted me. I ended up living in a tent out the back of the house. Yeah, you know, and then when I was there, I think when I was 20, I ended up running over and killing someone, and he sort of died in my arms, and when the summons came for that to go to court, the old man just screwed that up and threw it at my head, and that was about it. And I think the only thing they did to support me was pack a suitcase. They didn't think I was coming home.
Oh,
wow.
But the problem was I did. So, so you know, and you have flashbacks to that as well, you know, and then having my fiancée die next to me as well, you know, and then just not being able to read and write. I mean, when I went and got diagnosed in 2017, the lady who ran the clinic said, you know, how have you survived? And to this day, I don't fucking know. There's something inside you that just drives you. And I've only had myself all my life. There was only a 4-year period when I was with my fiancée that I actually felt loved and wanted. And then she died on me. And since then, I've never lived with another adult. My son ran away when he was 16. So, you know, I've lived by myself the last 15 years because that's how I grew up, with no one around me. I just grew up in a wardrobe. No birthday parties, no friends, no nothing. So I've carried that on with my life. So now I'm basically a recluse. I mean, to come out here today took a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because Matty's been at me for a few months. Come out and tell us a few of the stories. I've had to keep the harsher stories away. But you know, it was a brutal life. I mean, you know, listen to Jimmy Barnes whinge and moan, the fucking pommy bastard, you know. He just fucking, you know, hey, everyone had it hard.
Yeah.
But he still had 5 sisters and a brother.
Yeah.
He had something. He could sing. He could write. I can't do fuck all. I'm good at nothing. Absolutely nothing. So how am I going to get out of the ghetto? That's why I'm fucking still there now.
Yeah.
The only thing I've got that I can control is the weights. And my weight trainer makes me feel good about myself and my body image, you know. But how can I get a job? He's going to hire a 60-year-old dumb fucker. You know, and I've just had just shit jobs all my life, you know, minimal jobs, and that puts depression on you because you want to go higher, but you know you're never going to get any higher. So all the people that you went to school with have got all these good jobs, houses, cars and all that. I've got nothing. I live in a housing commission house. I've got $15 in my pocket and a shit car. But something keeps making me wake up every day because I've got hope that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it's funny because as you're talking about the traumas and the challenges that have come along in your life, there seems to be like an underlying tenacity that's somehow been instilled in you even more so as a result of all of that.
Oh, yeah. Imagine having 5 bullies beat the fuck out of you every day, mate. That makes you...
Yeah.
But it gives you anxiety as well. I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, there was no such thing as phoning up of online shit or Uber and all that. You had to actually go to a fish and chip shop. So you can imagine every day the parents said, you go to the fish and chip shop. And you imagine the anxiety because those 4 or 5 bullies might be sitting there and they're 3, 4 years older than me. So, you know, here I am going, fuck, am I going to get beaten up, you know? Yeah. Everywhere I went, there was anxiety. And then all the shit I had, so I've got long-term, you know, depression and all that. And then I nearly necked myself in, I think, I can't remember what year it was, and they booked me in to see a psychiatrist. You know what she said to me when I told her how I ran over that guy and all that shit? This is true. She said, because it happened so long ago, why don't you just forget it happened? So that was the fucking help I received. Huh. Wow. And she said, oh, you swear a bit. I said, well, what do you fucking think? You kept me waiting 2 hours without a fucking, without even an apology or nothing, and then you're telling me to fucking forget about everything that's happened to me? Yeah, you fucking idiot. And just walked out, you know. That's the only help I've got. So, you know, so my brain's roached. But, you know.
It's tough, man. We
but the soul still burns.
Oh, yeah.
Look. This is why I really appreciate our friendship because I know the difficulties that you faced, and it's always like an inspiration for me that somebody who's been through that much difficulty is still kicking, still training, still wanting to do something. And it's like, that's why I keep telling you to come in here, because it's like, you know, this is something, and it's like, you know, you're one of those people that it's sort of like, you know, you can kick a dog for so long and they'll either roll over and die or they'll come back and bite you. Tim's going to bite you, and he's going to bite you hard. Yeah. He's that kind of guy. And it's a special sort of person that will do that, will stand up to adversity. And you can recognize it in people. And it's like, I can see it. And, you know, when you speak and you're still training and you're feeling good, and, you know, you say you're 60, almost 61 years old and still, you know, in good shape and getting out there and doing stuff. And it's like, you know, as you said, other people that you've known from that era are dead or completely...
Still doing drugs, doing fuck all.
Exactly.
Still hanging around the streets doing drugs. I still see them now, yeah.
That's right. And we did end up watching a film together which was very similar. It was called My Name is Lenny, which was a similar sort of story. It was like Lenny McLean in England, and he had a similar sort of upbringing, father that would, you know, physically... beat the crap out of him, basically. And he had same sort of, you know, upbringing, same sort of issues that he dealt with, and then sort of, you know, created a security company, became a fighter, became a boxer. And, you know, when we were watching the movie, you were like, my God, this is me. Like,
it was a bit strange watching that movie because I could see similarities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heaps.
Absolutely.
Because I used to be able to walk into a nightclub and fucking people just fucking walk away. You're not talking to me. And, you know, people wouldn't let their kids drive in the car with me and all that. It was a bit fucking crazy. Right. But I've just got one of those heads. I just look like Chopper Reed, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, people go, how come you're angry? I've just got, you know, like how women could have a resting bitch face. I've just got a resting bastard face. I just look mean, but I'm not.
Right.
You know, I've just got that angry look on my face, but I'm not angry. I've never intentionally gone out and hurt anyone.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting, like when people, because I've known you for you know, years now, and I can see people's reactions when, like, you know, if we're chatting or whatever, that they might react a certain way based on, you know, the way that you are, and then it's like, but he's an awesome guy. Like, you just gotta, like, if you give him a minute, like, you'll find out he's just like everybody else. There's no, but you'll come across differently in certain ways. But there's
But people make a judgment within 3 seconds of you.
Exactly.
Do you know, I can walk down the street and people just cross over the street. And I just think, fuck, why? And I've had to cop that all my life.
Yeah.
Women come walking towards me, and all of a sudden you can see them putting the handbag over the other side. And I think, really? Women walk towards me and they instantly bring out a mobile phone. I go, really? What's that? Is that going to fucking save you, you stupid woman? It doesn't do anything for my fucking conscience and my self-worth and all that, because people just fucking cross over the street and don't want to know me. And that's just walking down the street. But it's just the size of me, You're 6'2" and 100 kilos, covered in tats with a shaved head and half your teeth missing, and look like Chopper Reed. I can understand why, but it's not good for me. Even to this day, people still cross over the road.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. And the reason why I'm a little bit surprised by this, because you look essentially as you would see an older male model in a newspaper or in a magazine.
Oh, for sure.
You're the archetype now. You've got the tattoos, you've got the chiseled looks. You're essentially, you look like an Aussie Mickey Rourke almost. Like it's strange to me that in this day and age, people because there seems to be like a little bit of a theme of your life where things have just kind of fallen a little bit out of sync. Like in a different era, you wouldn't have had to have been brought up in those same conditions and been put up and be put in those circumstances as you were, and would have received more support so you could be a footballer. But also, in 1986, or you wouldn't have been a 60-year-old man that was 100 kilos and looked like you. But today, it seems to me like time's caught up with you, because now you're 60. As you were saying, you look at all of those guys that are out there that are 60 now, and how are they looking? How are they? It's like the race is long, and anybody who's 25 years old or 22 years old or 18 years old who's watching this, who thinks their life is shit, or that they've got low self-esteem, or somebody's telling them messages or things about themselves that they are starting to take on board, that they actually don't think are actually themselves at all, but nonetheless they are. I think you're a great inspiration for those people, because the race is long, and look at you now.
Well, Dave, I'm a qualified youth worker, went to TAFE, managed to struggle through that, and so I've done a lot
with dyslexia.
Yep,
So you've overcome dyslexia.
Yep. So I've done a lot of youth work, community services. I was a duty manager at the Aboriginal Detox Centre. Used to drive the MAP bus. I've worked in aged care centres. I used to go and do Edmund Rice camps for disadvantaged kids and all that sort of stuff. So,
and do you think because of your own experiences that you have
sure,
more empathy for those that are in
I can
those
help people, yeah.
circumstances?
And the thing is, I'm throwing out that many resumes at the moment, but I don't get a job, because people just take... My last 4 interviews have been panel interviews with 3 people. So, of course, when I walk in, 2 like me, 1 fucking hates me. So this year I've managed to get 4 interviews, which is really good. I've got lots of qualification, life experiences. I was a senior employment consultant dealing with people with mental, drug and alcohol issues. I've grown up with that many criminals and all that sort of stuff. I've got lots to give, but I just can't get a job at the moment. So that's why I'm battling. So if there's anyone out there that wants to offer me a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in those fields where you've really put yourself in a position where you've got so much to share.
I've got heaps of life experiences. I've got that resilience, I can pick people up. That's why I was so good as an employment consultant. I couldn't do the admin stuff, but I could motivate people. I could listen. I knew what you wanted. And they always said to me, you get all, I met all my KPIs every month because I actually got them jobs that they wanted, because I actually treated them how I wanted to be treated, not like a fucking number by these middle-class fat fucks just sitting there with their pills that don't give a fuck about anyone.
Yeah.
But I ended up giving a fuck about people, and I burnt myself out,
Yeah.
But it was the admin that got me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine I'm supposed to be doing 12 psych reports a day and I can't fucking read and write, mate. So I suffered from a thing called seizures, like syndrome, where imposter syndrome, where I just couldn't, I was thinking every day I was going to work new and I couldn't do it.
Right.
I was stressing every day.
Oh, yeah, right. So you knew you could do the job, but when it came to
the admin and all, I couldn't do it, and it really stressed me out. So I turned back into the hard drugs and I started drinking.
Yeah.
ended up getting a sex addiction and going through $50,000 on Asian prostitutes.
Yeah.
You know, could have bought a fucking Monaro for that.
If only you had a Monaro addiction instead, you know.
Wow. But yeah, for anyone that is coming to you like and having an issue, you know, you've been there and done that at 10 times worse. And, you know.
Yeah, I can help people and all that. I'd make a great, I mean, I'd say I'm a qualified youth worker, but I just can't get a job. I would make a great person. I mean, look at the Department of Child Protection. And look what that's going on now. Because they staff it full of fuckwits that don't know anything. I was a volunteer for the Department of Child Protection about 2-3 years ago, and it's a shithole. You can see why the kids fucking commit suicide and all that shit. It's crap. The government has sold off every department. Why not sell off that? Kids are still getting fucking raped and fucking committing suicide. And, you know, they just throw them in commercial care and don't give a shit and get some fucking African and pay them 10, $20 to not train for any mental health or anything, or Indians or Pakistanis, you know, and let them look at. You know, they're not getting anyone like me. You know, I've lived the life that they're going to live. You know, I could be there to support and do all that, but I can't get a job. Department of Child Protection won't like me because I just don't fit the mould.
Yeah.
They take one look at me and they just think, oh, fuck, look at this guy.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, I said to him, you're lucky I'm not a Catholic priest. But I used to say to people, because I used to take my son to school and they wouldn't invite me or my son anywhere. And I used to say to him, if you had to go and take your son to a life-saving club and you had one instructor was called Peter Liddy and you had the other instructor called Tim Jardine, who would you let your kid go with? And they'd look at me and I'd go, I'm glad I'm not your fucking son's ass. That's true. Just because I've got tats and all that, I've got a mean name, it doesn't mean I'm going to fucking hurt you.
Yeah.
But people do.
Yeah.
And that gives you an inferiority complex, like everyone's crossing over the road and all that. And, you know, you think, fucking relax.
Yeah.
Is it like with the tattoos, did you get them all quite quickly, or was it that you got them in a way to sort of get that like feeling of I want this sort of certain appearance, or as a protection? Or
always liked tattoos, always liked the art. So I got tattoos when I was 16, 17. So I'm talking about the middle 70s when, you know, even if a chick had a bluebird tattooed on her tit, she was a fucking slut, sleeping with the fucking bikie gang. So here I am at maybe 17, 18, covered in tats. So imagine, you know, you walk out to a footy club, no one's going to have it, you know.
Right.
So yeah. They looked at it differently then. Now it's cool to have tats.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Back in the 70s and 80s, as I said, you know.
Now it's more unusual if you don't have to do
right.
it.
Yeah, as I say, if some chick had a tattoo on a tit, you think, oh, this chick kind of fucking, she's a slut. She'll be, you know, that's just the way people thought. If you had a tattoo, oh, he's been in jail and all that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Even to this day, people say, you know, how many days have you been in the jail? Well, never have. Never been arrested, nothing.
But it was appreciation of the actual art itself that you liked.
I've always loved the art, colours and all that. And I think it's the pain, you know, going there and just sitting there and, you know, it's that, you know, better than the old man slamming you across the head, you know.
Find the same with weight training, like that you get that bone, you're like,
in a drive and all that,
you can take out that frustration.
And that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'll probably die in a gym.
Yeah.
I love my gym.
Yeah.
You know, people say, geez, you know, how do you train at home? And you've trained at home for 15 years, 4 days a week for 15 years. Who motivates you? I fucking do. How do you get up every day? Because I do. And I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
In a rut, anxiety, fucking you name it. Still can't read and write. But at least I know why I can't.
Yeah, that's a good spot to start.
And that was great. At least I know I'm not a dumb fuck. You know?
Yeah.
But the other day I bought a stereo. And it was only a little tiny stereo, and it had a little plastic aerial thing that you put together. I couldn't even read the instructions to put it on, to fix it. So it's just sitting there.
It was in Japanese.
Mate, I wish it was. Because I've fucked enough Asian prostitutes. I might have fucking read the writing.
Oh my. But yeah, that pain that you were talking about, I think that is a big outlet for a lot of people in terms of if you are in frustration. Like I know times that I've had my best workouts is when I've had, you know, a shitty day or something that's pissed me off, or I'm thinking of somebody that I absolutely hate their guts, and it's like you go in and you can lift 10 times more than what you could before, you know, and it's like I still use that motivation now as to, you know, moments that happened 20 years ago. And it's like that is a fuel for me when I need energy, and it's like, no, that will pop up, and it's like, right, and that fire just explodes and the strength just goes through the roof in terms of taking out that frustration. So you can see why it's like such a valuable tool, for somebody that, it's why you do it, because it's like when you're in the gym, it's you and the weight, and it's like, I'm going to lift this. I don't give a shit if it's going to be heavy. I'm lifting it. I'm going to push myself to the absolute limit until I can't move anymore. And it's like you have that control, like you were saying, you're controlling the weight, it's pushing against you. It is the force that you are trying to beat, and you can beat it 20 times, 22, 20, and then it overcomes you and it gets the victory. But you beat it 20 times, and then you get to do it again and again and again. And it's like by the end of that workout, you've got that adrenaline going, you've got that endorphin rush, and you have achieved something, and you get stronger from it. And the next time you go into the gym, you might be a little bit stronger, and it's like, well, I'm overcoming that 100 kilos is now nothing to me. That you are nothing, that 100 kilos, like whatever it is because it's like by doing that, by overcoming those weights, it's like you are achieving something against something that is pushing against you. So, yeah.
And as we all know, don't we, Dave, that weights isn't a science. It's a repetitive fucking animal sport.
Yeah.
I mean, all these little wankers these days that go and do all these courses and all that and bring out all that, I'm like, fuck off. You know what I mean? It's not fucking hard to go and do a bench press in your footy shorts and your Adidas Roams and a fucking blue trucky vest. Do you know what I mean? It's not fucking hard. That's why I got out of the gym. Every time I told someone how I train, all that, that you can't do that. You should do that. You should do that. You can't do that. Well, those fuckers now are fucking fat and ugly and bald, mate.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know anything. It's repetitive. You've got to go in there every day and repetitive, and always write down what you do. Because I've got
You log it all.
Yeah. Well, I've got a
You got
weight
books?
sheet that I know how many weights I do, because I do everything repetitively. So so I'm only doing a maintenance program at the moment, so I know exactly how heavy I go.
Yeah.
But I've increased a couple of little tiny weights since I've sort of changed my routine a bit. But I've done exactly the same routine since I've started, since 86.
Wow.
And everyone goes, you can't do that. You've got to
change
change
it up.
around. Yeah, you've got to shave down. Fuck off, you little gay fuck. I know that's not politically correct, but I'm not a politically correct person because I come from the northern suburbs. So if you get offended, turn off.
Yeah, it's easy.
Weightlifting and bodybuilding ain't fucking hard.
It's not rocket science, is it?
It's not rocket science.
Lift something heavy and do it repetitively.
And you know what? One thing, guys, is I've never taken steroids. My strength comes, as Matthew says, from inner. It's the inner drive. Drugs are never going to do it for you. No. Never.
That's right.
You've got to have that want from inside you. You've got to have the drive. Taking steroids, I mean, that's only a short-term game. You look good, but you'll feel shit.
Yeah.
You'll lose your fucking hair, and you'll get fucking stretch marks, and your nuts will go small. They probably already are, because that's why you're taking steroids. Haven't got a thing about steroids.
Not at all.
No. Don't. Yeah. Well, hey.
But do you think that's why you've got longevity now?
Yeah,
so do you
fucking
think
oath,
that's why you're
yeah.
still training now?
Hey, look, Dave. When we were in the same gym together 30-odd years ago,
Yep.
you're seeing these guys. They come in, they take one look at you, and they want to be like you. But hey, I've been in the gym for 10 years, but they want these instant results.
Yep.
All these young kids want instant results.
Yep.
So they go, all the supplements. Everyone's doing it. Well, they're not. But they just want to be one of the crowd.
Yeah, they're not willing to put in the time and effort.
Yeah, and steroids are just water retention. It's just fluid. Steroids fucks you up because your body's not designed to lift enormous amounts of weights
All the time.
on a repetitive basis.
Well, Kai Green just had a heart attack like last week, for instance.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Sean Roden died
Another one, yeah.
Oh, get out. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
yesterday. Or
Heart
the day
attack.
before, heart attack. 46. Was Mr. Olympia
2 years ago, 3 years ago?
3 years ago or something.
Yeah, wow.
Mr. Olympia, and then 3 years later, dead of a heart attack.
Because let me tell you out there, guys, steroids don't do fuck all for your heart.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you think about the science behind it. You've got your heart, which is designed to grow with the size of your body, and then it's like you triple the muscle mass unnaturally, and then you're going and doing incredibly hard workouts. So your heart's just working overtime.
Exactly.
So for those people, because there are people that draw equivalency between drug use and steroid use. So you're very clearly of the view that there is a delineation there. The drug use has been, there's different types of drugs for different things. There's those drugs that you use to abuse yourself, to suppress depression, which ultimately is just a bit of self-abuse that's going on there. Then you've got some more that's medicinal, and then you've got this stuff over here, which is, an absolute no-no for you. That's where you draw the line.
Yeah. I've never wanted to take steroids because I was always an angry fuck in the first place, and I'm thinking, fuck, I'll end up killing someone.
Well, you're always big and strong as well.
Yeah,
like,
I know,
so
exactly, yeah. Because I always had the inner drive,
Yeah.
so I don't need steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like because I've got OCD and HDH, I mean, I'm really hypey.
Yeah.
So, I'm one of those guys that if you go prevent, speed and all that too, does fuck all because I'm a really hypey.
You're already there.
Got a lot of energy,
Yeah. Yeah, and do you think you've got energy because of the weight training, because you kept physical all these years?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And motivated.
Now, you're also quite the Renaissance man. So people might see you on occasions walking around with a didgeridoo on your back, for instance. So, I mean, because you did kind of come in and you downplay yourself a lot. Okay, so when you've come in here, you said, I'm a drug addict, I'm from the northern suburbs, I'm bloody this and that. I'm shit. I've got $2 to my name. Blah, blah, blah. But the reality,
15.
15. Sorry, $15,
And that's true.
and so, but then we look, and like people, the way that people are judged success in life is obviously different. It's hugely subjective. But the way you've chosen to draw success in life, I think there's a lot of people that look at you and say, "Fuck, I want to look like that when I'm 60." Or nearly 61. I want to, like, the race is long. Like, look at this guy. He's gone through, and so many people. We had a young lady in here just a little bit earlier in the week. People experience tremendous trauma and adversity in their lives, but the results don't always end the same. And from your end, you've been able to overcome more than what anybody should ever be expected to. But at the same time, demonstrate to the rest of the world that, if you somehow find a way to tough it out, if you somehow latch onto something that's good for you, whether that's weight training, we've lost Tito, whether that's weight training or boxing, or just having some novelty in your life so that you've got something to look forward to the next day. That can just be that thing that gets you through. And then you might end up looking like you do at nearly 61 years of age, which is tremendous. Now, but other things. So you've somehow gotten through and achieved academically. You've gone on to get more qualifications, even though you can't read and write. You're suffering from dyslexia. You're obviously suffering through life to that point because no one's told you this, and so you're just assuming, hey, this is me, and I can't read, I can't write, and but at the same time, somehow you've managed to work out how to play the most complicated and difficult instrument known to mankind, how to play the didgeridoo. So how did that start?
Well, here we go again. Well, I've always
Is there more drug use involved in this?
I'm glad you asked.
I've always been interested in the Aboriginal culture, and I sort of believe in past lives and reincarnation. And as you say, Dave, I've done a lot in my life. I can't go over the whole fucking things I've done. But I became a spiritual healer, went to a spiritualist church, could never be a clairvoyant. And I ended up going to the spiritualist church for about 3 years. And this is in the late 90s when everyone thought you were a fucking fruit bat. Yeah. So I sat in all the development circles, and even the church when I went there were a bit fucking scared of me, because I wanted to be a clairvoyant. They go, "Fuck, mate, you sure?"
I think that's next door, actually.
And I was never good as a fucking clairvoyant, but I was really good as a spiritual healer. So
and for those that might not understand the difference, so clairvoyant, somebody who conjures the spirits from beyond.
And spiritual healing is a bit like Reiki and all that, where you do hands-on healing and all that.
Right. And how did you find that you were adept
to do that? I just buy in I sat in the development circles for 3 years. I sat in the meditation circle, the spiritual healing circle, and the clairvoyant circle. And I sat in those every week for 3 years because I needed something. This is when I was, this is just after my wife died, or my fiance died, and so I gave up boxing. So I gave up boxing and joined the spiritualist church.
Yeah.
And I was
to try and find answers.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a story. All the guys, I used to go every Wednesday and would go to the old spot and have a beer, and all the guys said, "Mate, you've given up boxing and you've gone to a spiritualist church. You're a fucking poofter." I said, "Hey, listen here, guys." I said, "There's 10 of us that sit here at the bar every Wednesday." I said, I'm going to a church with 40 women. I said, who's fucking gay? Jesus. So,
They said you. All right, so we see the underlying motivation here.
Yeah, well, hey, there was a lot of vulnerable women there.
Not after you got there.
So I ended up healing myself as well. So, I mean, I've still got a healing sanctuary at home, but I don't do it anymore. And so I became very spiritual, and it saved me, you know.
Yeah.
And I really loved helping people. See, I've got this thing that I want to help people, whereas I never received their help, but I always love helping people. And that's why I became a youth worker and employment consultant, and I love helping people. Mm. But it's funny, because when people look at me, they fucking shit scared of me, but yet I'd rather help you than fucking fight you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have $15, would you?
Yeah. I'd rather be your friend than fight you, but people don't see that.
No.
You know? And then just before that, because I've missed a beat, getting back to the didgeridoo stuff. Yeah, well, hey, how many pianos have you seen at fucking Cash Converters, Dave? Yeah. Fucking not too many. I'll take that didgeridoo. And you don't need to read and write, you just need to fucking blow.
You don't have the sheet music, nothing.
Nothing, you just
got
fucking,
a mouth, you're okay.
Yeah, you just fucking make it up as you go. But anyway, I became really good at it.
Yeah, and this is before YouTube, before you could just jump online and work it out. So how did you work it out? Did you?
I went and had a couple of lessons of a didgeridoo master called Alistair Black.
Right.
And I went and had 3 half-hour lessons. And after the third one, he looked at me and he goes, Tim, you sure you don't want to take up the electric guitar, mate? Because the didgeridoo ain't going to let you fucking play it, mate. You're too aggressive. You've got to be at peace with yourself. And that's why I think I went to a Spiritist church and calmed down.
Right.
And then I ended up going to my son's school, and I played, and that's how it started. Every class heard me and invited me, and then I started going to all the kindergartens. And then I bumped into Gavin Wanganeen's dad, Edmund, and we started doing Dreamtime stories. And I travelled all through South Australia to every school doing the Dreamtime story with him. And after that, and I've done Real Life for Cancer. I played at the Festival Theatre. I used to busk in Rundle Mall. I've played in caves up at Moriata Falls. You know, and it's all self-taught.
Incredible.
And I can get up in front of, 1,000 people and just play it. And I sort of venture down to the local creek at Pittman Park and play it for the Aboriginals down there, and they love it.
Yeah.
You know, as the goons come flying over. Yeah, no, but hey.
What the...
Hey, that's true.
If somebody was trying to learn how to play it, you have any tips at all in terms of technique and skill?
Relax. Just don't force it. It's not a trumpet. It's, it's breathing, and you've got to be able to go, breathe in your nose and blow out at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's...
Circular breathing.
Yeah. So breathe up your nose and blow out your mouth at the same time.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So you've actually got to train your brain to do something unnatural. And I was just really, really good at it. I just... it's the only thing I was fucking good at. But who's going to hire a white pom to play the didge? Every time I went to a school, they were expecting some big fat Neville to rock up. Hey, who are you? Are you coming to rob us? No, I'm here to play the didge. They were expecting an Aboriginal. You know? Yeah. Not some choppery looking dude.
So you've said
they all just ran their cars.
You said that a few times. That's the only thing I was good at. But then you were the state boxing champion. You played the didgeridoo. Spiritual healer.
Youth
kicked
worker.
100 goals.
Yeah.
Set association records. It sounds like you've...
from all of that.
To me, it sounds like you've actually got a life of achievement that's wrapped up in a really bad story.
Yeah, I have, yeah. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. Yeah, it's just my upbringing. And a lot of people in Elizabeth suffered that in the 60s and 70s, because you got to remember what my parents went through, and I haven't seen or spoke to them in over 30 years.
Right, and they're still alive.
I wouldn't, Dave, are you listening? I haven't seen or spoken to them in 30 years, mate. Wouldn't have a fucking clue. Haven't got nothing. They've never tried to nothing. Not in 30 years. I've got one brother. I've seen him twice in, I think, 48 years. Jeez. He was the one who beat me up and tried killing me. So I've been alone. I've got no relatives, no friends, no nothing. Even to this day. I'm a loner, and that's how I was raised, in a wardrobe.
Yeah. And
it's that's how my life's sort of gone. And I don't like, I don't know how to, when people give me something, I don't know how to accept it. Because no one ever fucking bought me anything. I mean, one day I was grounded, so I said to my brother, hey, go to the shops and get this record. He brought the wrong one back. And I said, yeah. So I spat the chewy at him, and my old man just came and fucking beat me up and fucking smashed the record. And that's the type of shit I had, And you could never speak to him. It was always when you got home, don't speak to your father who's reading the papers. Well, they were different times back then. you know, and you don't know what he went through. I mean, they're probably in their 90s now.
Yeah.
And he came from Scotland. He was a Queen's Guard at Edinburgh Castle in the 50s and 60s, so I don't know how vicious and what upbringing he was. Yeah. I wouldn't even have a fucking clue what nationality my mother was. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah. It just never spoke.
No, I don't even know if I've got a fucking spleen or not. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
They just didn't give a fuck. But it was like Jimmy Barnes, how he harks on. But he had 5 sisters and a brother to look after. I had fucking no one. And that's it. I've never had no one to look after me but myself. And that's why I've got that drive. No one's going to do it for me. You know? And I've never had any help.
Yeah.
You know, Matty's been one of my best mates, and he's only one of the friends I've ever had that I've kept.
Yeah.
And that's probably because he lives fucking 50 kilometres away. But anyway, that's another story.
He's doing that deliberately, you know. Yeah. He doesn't even want to live down south. The rest of his family live in Salisbury.
So I haven't got any friends bar Matty.
Yeah.
And that's true.
That's incredible.
But yeah, I know 1,000,001 people.
Yeah.
I know thousands of people, but I can't make that connection, you know, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know.
I think a lot of people just judge you wrong.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know, they cross over, walk to the street.
Yeah.
They have this preconceived idea that because I look really mean and angry and the size of me that I am. Well, let me tell you, I'm not. Because let me tell you, every Catholic priest may look good, but they're fucking cunts. I may look like a cunt, but I tell you what, I'm a nice guy. See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
And you got to learn to work through all that shit in your life. And I think that's why I went to a spiritualist church and all that, you know. But I've come to accept it all. Yeah. Everyone's going to judge me. And it's just proved this year when I've gone for these four job interviews. Never got one.
Yeah.
And I'm going for really good jobs, you know, in domestic violence and all that sort of stuff. Got a lot to offer. I've worked in the Indigenous community, the Aboriginal Sobriety Centre, so they sacked me. Because they found out who I fucking ran over and killed because he happened to be an Aboriginal.
Oh, really?
So, you know, I was threatened to be killed and all that shit in the 70s, you know, when I done it in the 80s and all that. So, you know, hey. So it's not what you look like, it's how you act. I mean, look at all these politicians. Fuck, would you invite one of them around your house? You'd have to check your fucking silverware, wouldn't you? Hey? Or your drugs.
Yeah. It's time and again, you know, when people, say, people perhaps make a superficial judgment.
Within 3 seconds, people make up their mind, which they have to do, you know.
For survival.
You know, it's human nature. You've got to work out, is this guy a danger or not, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the way I look, danger.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because when you say that, like,
and I've lived it. Trust me.
Yeah, and like it's just in this day and age, like I kind of feel like the world's kind of turned more towards you in terms of your appearance, how you look after yourself. Now it's not entirely unusual for guys in their 40s and 50s to be looking after themselves and still be training hard and doing that type of thing. But I mean, in their 60s, there's not many, and it's a bit of a rarity. But you know, you're the stuff of Instagram posts. You know, in this day and age, you know, it's you know, I can almost see like you're maybe born into the wrong era, and then somehow like the time caught up with you. You know, and your achievements will be remembered differently as well, and all that will be heard into the future will be you achieved all of those things in spite of the adversity and in spite of what had happened, and that those things aren't excuses, but they are the basis for what you achieved, and also the inspiration for a lot of people as they go through their life.
Well, I mean, a lot of 60-year-olds do train. They just don't train fucking hard. Whereas I still like to train hard, you know. I still like to lift I don't bench 100 kilos, but close to it.
Yeah. And incredible. Yeah. What's in the future for you? So you're on a maintenance program for training. So we know training, we're just going to keep looking amazing for the next 20 years. Okay.
Announcing his boxing comeback.
Yeah.
I'm looking for work at the moment, so that's my main priority. But I've come to the realisations that I've led this life for a reason, but the reason just hasn't come forth yet. People always say to me, mate, you should write a fucking book.
Yeah.
But I keep saying, there's no ending. Who wants to read a book about a fucking unknown Hauser?
Yeah.
Who?
Well?
No one. I mean, Jimmy Barnes' books are fucking nursery rhymes, you know? It's fucking full of shit.
Yeah.
I I mean, I wish I had fucking 5 sisters wiping me fucking ass and a brother. I had fucking no one. But you can't take, you know, hey, his life is his life and mine's mine, you know. But, hey, everyone in Elizabeth, it was a great place to grow up, but it was brutal. And all the parents were pommies and they drank and all that sort of shit. So, hey, everyone went through the same shit he did. You know? But he tries to make out he's a great guy, but I mean, fuck, he must have fucked 5,000 women whilst he was married. I mean, he's got fucking 106 fucking stepkids, mate. I mean, fuck knows why she's still with him. But yeah, you know, they fucking play happy families. Fuck me, mate. You wouldn't want to. That's the bit dysfunctional to me. No, but hey, I may look at things a bit strangely, but I mean, hey, fuck me, I don't know. But he makes money.
So will we ever see a book? Is that something that you've given thought to?
I've got to become a success.
Yeah, well, I think the only thing that's stopping your story being a success is perhaps the way that you're looking at it, because I think in any other metric, somebody would look at it and say, there's a lot within that story that I can draw inspiration from, and there's a lot of achievement. There's a lot of achievement. There's people that have lived their lives and never fought a fight, never brought themselves, always wanted to, never got themselves to the ring, never took themselves to the gym, never gave themselves the opportunity, and then if given the opportunity, wouldn't have stepped inside the ring, would have come up with all the reasons not to, and then would have got knocked down in the first 15 seconds and wouldn't have lasted it out for 3 rounds, and certainly wouldn't have stuck up their hand the next year when the chance came up again, and would not have put themselves in a position where they could walk away with the belt. The courage that it takes to put yourself in those types of winning situations, because the downside is so great and the upside is so, the chance of success is so slim, means that most people will never just go the next step.
Yeah, and they wish they did by the time they get to your age.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as we talk and I'm going through my life talking about the book, I'm remembering more shit that I've gone through, you know.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you one mental issue that I went through that was, and I think this is why it's connected to the weightlifting, Dave. I was just, I was bulimic and you know, anorexic.
Really?
Yeah.
At what age?
Oh, I was going, I reckon we're talking about 81, 82. So I was about 21, 22. And I reckon just after I ran over and killed that dude, it sort of triggered it. And I split up. And I tell you, when I found out I had anorexic, I found out in the early 80s. And how I found out, they said Karen Carpenter had it and she just died. Yeah. And they said it's a woman's disease. I went, fuck! Really? Shit, I've got a woman's disease. Fuck! Not only have I got this, it's a woman's disease. And I'm thinking, oh, shit! Fuck! And there's these little young girlies that go out and write these books that they've just had to anorexic and bulimic. Fuck, I lived it nearly 40 fucking years ago. And I'm a male. And I think that's what... And I collapsed a couple of times. I went to Sydney to live with a couple of guys in here, and I was staying in a flat. I was doing a bit of roadie work and all that for these guys. And I was staying in a flat at Palm Beach where they film Home and Away. And we're talking 82, 83 here. And I was in Rose, and I wasn't doing anything. I was just spewing up all the food and everything, and I ended up collapsing in this guy's flat. Just had an epileptic fit or whatever. And to this day, I still don't know anything that happened.
Wow.
A couple of days later, I went back to my mate's flat and caught a bus coach back home. And to this day, I fucking haven't got a clue what happened there. So, and that's how I fucked up my knee. I lost that much weight. So I've got a couple of grainy photographs of me, and I weigh probably 30, 40 kilos. I'm skeletal.
Incredible. So
I've had to battle the anorexic and the bulimia as well, you know. So where you gorge, you just eat and then you just vomit and vomit. But the thing is, all the acid in your mouth and your stomach and all that shit fucking roaches your teeth.
Yeah.
You know, so I've gone through anorexic as well. So there you go. I could just write a story just on that one, being a 60-year-old male. So yeah, even us old people went through these new little trendy fucking anorexic and bulimias. I had it, and who was I going to turn to? Karen Carpenter? Fuck! Hey mate, I'm keeping this as quiet. Fuck! I've got a Gill's disease. Fuck!
How did you get over?
Well, I still battle it to this day, and that's why you guys think I look good. Well, I think it's a control thing. Right. You know, I can control how I look and all that. You know, but it really got into me. I could go to the fish and chip shop, buy a chicken, sit in the car, eat the whole thing, spew it up, and go back and buy another chicken. And I kept on doing that and repeating it and repeating it. I was fucking vomiting. As I say, it got that bad. I collapsed twice. Once on the sink and I split my lip open. And there's blood everywhere. And once when I collapsed in that flat in Palm Beach. Wow. Where they filmed Home and Away.
Incredible.
Fucking, and that's just another story that I remember. So I battled that by myself, but I've always had body image. You know, I've always wanted to look good and all that, but I don't know what caused that. I think running over and killing that dude did.
Did that trigger it?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and then and that's when I lost all that weight and I still played footy and I snapped my knee. So you know,
right.
Because I was
So you'd had your muscles had atrophied and your knee was weak and
yeah,
you just
exactly.
put
Yeah,
pressure
it just
on
buckled. Yeah, 6 foot. Yeah, just bended. Yeah. So I had the triple carbon fibre, the triple carbon fibre ligament implant. They use a Lars now, but I had a triple carbon fibre ligament. No one's ever seen it before. I think they only performed 4, 8 or maybe 8 of the operations before they realised it was fucking useless. I think Barry Robin had it.
And
Mark Micken.
Surgeon that you had, because you got a new knee recon recently, or the last couple of years, and
I got it all fixed up.
Yeah, but then when he looked at the carbon fibre and he was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, they didn't even know. Yeah, they was looking at it.
Experimental technology.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this day and age, you have a knee reconstruction. You're up and running the next day. They had me in a plaster.
Oh God.
For 2 months. So you can imagine when they've cut that plaster off.
Yeah.
The carbon fibre set like fucking concrete in my knee.
Yeah.
You haven't moved it.
No.
And you've been in plaster for 2 months.
Yeah.
Fucking, you don't do that now.
No.
I should sue these fucking cunts, but it's probably been 40 fucking years. If I ever saw that surgeon, I'd kill you, you cunt. See, I'm still angry.
Yeah.
Because I went from being a great football player to a fucking cripple that could only limp.
Yeah.
I always limped after that. And it crucified me. I think that's why I turned really heavily into the drugs, you know. So, the one thing I could
at that point, that was that one thing that you'd been really good at.
The one thing I could identify myself, and all of a sudden I'm a cripple.
Yeah.
Can't even run. To this day, I can't run.
And then from there, it's that's shortly thereafter. So you head into do you think the drugs and the like was very much because of depression brought on by that?
Oh, mate.
No,
I was doing drugs at 10, so...
You were doing drugs already, and things just got worse
just got
after
escalated,
that,
yeah.
because you didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
There was no distraction from the drugs then.
No.
Yeah.
I think the drugs probably escalated after 93 when my fiancée died.
Yeah.
You know, and left me with a 2.5-year-old. Fuck, you're leaving a mental retard with a 2.5-year-old, mate. Fuck, you know. So I just went on the single parents pension for... I didn't do anything for 14 years, but just fucking drink 20 coffees a day, smoke 20 cigarettes and smoke 20 cones, and you know, that was my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Were you training then?
Yeah. I was doing weights, yeah, and the boxing.
That was the only sort of positive sort of like thing that you.
Oh well, I've always done the weights. It's always given me something to do. Yeah, it's always made me feel good. If I don't feel, you know, if I don't do the weights, I feel shit. You know, legs sore, back sore, hips sore. See, everything's sore, but you've got to push yourself through everything. I mean, society these days, everyone's too fucking soft. Mate, no one would have fucking lived the life I led. No. And that's what keeps me going to this day at 60. I've still got the drive of a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
The dick of a 100-year-old, but the fucking the drive of a 20-year-old, you know? There's those 5 Viagras.
Oh, my God.
So what does the future hold?
Well, Dave, mate, every day I just wake up hoping something's going to happen to me.
Yep.
And I've got hope that one day a door's going to open and someone will fucking pull me in.
Yeah.
I've never had any help, support, anything in my whole fucking life. No one's ever put their arm around me and gone, "How you feeling, Tim?" Ever.
Yeah.
Ever in my whole life, bar my fiancée, the one who died. You know? She was the only one. Other than that, every other cunt's just too scared, or fucking they use you, or fucking, you know. I'd go out, score with the women, they'd, you know what I mean? They only hung you around because I'd score with the chicks for them. But Dave, who knows? But there's hope there. That's why I get up every day smiling. I do my little gym, and hey, if I've got to sit at home all day and do fuck all, well, hey, so be it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not out there killing anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not out there hurting anyone. I'm not doing nothing, you know. So I'm just waiting for the opportunity. But I keep saying to Jesus, whoever's up there, fucking hurry up, mate. I'm fucking 60. Come on, mate. I want to fucking enjoy my success. I don't want to be in a fucking Zimmer frame. Come on. So, you know, I don't think I've led this life for fucking no reason.
Yeah.
I've had to lead it for something.
Yeah.
Whether I get a good job out of it, or a good chick, you know, or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm on Tinder at the moment. Mate, as soon as you say you're unemployed, fucking deleted. Yeah, you know, they don't want to fucking know. So when people say, oh,
You'll have to call yourself an author.
Oh,
That'll keep him going for a little while longer.
got to call myself something.
Podcaster.
Podcast. Well, now you can.
Well, hey, this is the second podcast I've done now. I mean, the Dyslexic Centre, they done one for me in 2017. They done one, they were doing one. Said, Tim, would you like to come in and sit there and mate, the director said the camera loves you.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, here's my stardom. Yeah. Someone's going to see it. Fuck knows where that went.
Yeah. Well, don't rely on this podcast because apart from us, it's probably, Matt's mum. And,
this is good, lady. Shit. And I've been swearing.
That's fine, mate. That's fine. This is real, though. This is the difference. But, this is what's great about having your own sort of studio and having people on that you want to have on. It's like there's no pressure in terms of what you want to talk about, what you want to say. It's like, say what you want because, there's no producer in the corner going, we have to strike all of that. It's like, no, this is a real person. This is you. This is how you'd be if you met me on the street, It's just...
So how many people are listening to the thing?
Well, it's going good.
Well, apart from us.
Yeah.
I think maybe you reached 10,000 people last month.
Yeah.
With all the media.
Yeah, we're over 10,000. No, it's going well and it's growing. And this is episode number 20.
And I'm born on the 20th. So, hey, that's something. I'm single. I need a woman. I need a job.
There you go. All the numbers are in alignment.
Did you have a footy number that was yours?
3.
Number 3.
Why?
Just like 3.
That was it? Yeah.
Just like 3.
Is it still a number today?
I was never the captain or the vice captain, so I thought I'd get number 3.
That's great.
Number 1 and number 2 are always cycling in and out, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So, look, hey, I get up every day, do my gym, and I'm hoping.
Yeah.
You've got to be grateful and have gratitude for everything in life. And do you know what? I always say, I'm grateful that I'm still healthy. Thank you so much for the life I've had. I'm grateful and, I'm appreciative of what I've got, but I fucking hate my life. So, hey, but I am grateful for what I have.
Yeah.
But I still don't like my life.
Yeah.
Because I still only got $15 in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm unemployed at 60. There's 25-year-old kids that got more shit than me. I live in a housing trust house of fuck all, but myself and my gym. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not much. I'm not material. So I never grew up being materialistic because I never knew I was never going to have anything, So to this day, so your self-esteem takes a battering when you see your mates' kids have more shit than you and they've got holiday houses and fucking cars and Jeeps and all that shit and you're driving around in a bucket of fucking shit and live in a housing trust house. It does a lot to you. But you've got to wake up every day and have that resilience in you and go, do you know what? Hopefully one day someone will put their shoulder, their arm around me and go, do you know what, Tim, I'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll help you, mate. That's all.
Well, it's the theme of this podcast. The race is long, and
that's it.
And you have continually put yourself in positions wherever you could that opened a door to the next thing, and
nothing ever opened.
Oh well, it's
still here, still going.
It's bizarre.
I would say you're downplaying it because, like I say, there's plenty of people that have never had the chance to fight for a title, and they've plied themselves for 10 or 15 years at their craft and threw themselves in their training for years and years and fell down at the critical moment or let themselves down when the door opened. But you, on the other hand,
mate,
that was one of those opportunities that came easier for you than it would for most. But not only that, but you had the presence of mind to take the opportunity when you did.
I look like a goose, but I've still done it,
Yeah.
You got to do things in life, but I've always been driven.
Yeah. And it's that drive that takes you through to this next chapter, whatever might be awaiting us in that next 10, 20, 30 years, I hope, or more.
Well, that's what I'm here today. Yeah. When Matty said, do you want to come on for the 100th time? I thought, oh, well, I'll just have to
It only took 100 times.
I'll just have to look at my fucking calendar. Yeah, well, tomorrow's dole day, so yeah.
Very good.
I'm doing nothing today, so I'll come down and get a free coffee. I'll use my senior citizens card on the public transport, so I was laughing.
It's so good that you did come in. We won't wrap it up there, but I'm really appreciative of having you. And as you said before, just you are such a real person, and you're not putting on a performance or anything. I mean, this is the Tim that I know every time I speak to you, and you're charismatic, entertaining, completely raw and honest guy, and as I said, an inspiration. And you might not see it that way, but you really are. So thank you again for coming in, and anyone who's interested in Tim's story, we'll keep tabs on Tim as we go, and maybe another round in the future or something.
Yeah. I think we're going to help Tim set up some socials very soon.
Hey, well, I am on Tinder.
You can head over right there now if you like. Swipe right.
So thank you everybody for listening. This is the Daily Combat Podcast. Hollywood Matt Connolly, Dave Stockbridge, and our special guest today was Tim Jardine. So thank you, Tim.
Back off to the northern suburbs.